Okay, welcome back to Who is Jesus, Part 2. And for your consideration, for your illumination, dear, esteemed, honored, noble, and notable viewer of Christ consciousness, I have shared from the page from the Law of Light that was depicting the Tetragrammaton. So you're kind of looking at what I was referring to, and I'm going to continue on with this chapter, Who was Jesus? And so we're going to go over that. I know you can't necessarily make out the English phonetics, but you can see the Hebrew lettering of the Tetragrammaton because picking up the incarnation line of Yeshua is the true order of Melchizedek, and incarnation line of the first soul, our elder brother who took upon himself to incarnate again and again as an example for us to follow. So, if anything, organized religion brainwashed people. Maybe you guys get this, I don't know, but I guess I grew up around too many Southern Baptists where it was like, if you don't believe, if you don't worship Jesus, if you don't see Jesus as God, like this cult of Jesus, you were going to hell. And they transferred the power to themselves, these people who were gaslighting their congregations. So I'm not going to dwell on too much negativity. But Jesus, if anything, if you don't understand that the Christ, the potential for the Christ within you to be anointed with the office of Christ, to be a realized anointed one, a bodhisattva, an enlightened one, then you can understand Christ as an example. Of course, he's the Son of God, but he is the first Son of God. Does not mean that doesn't mean that you get to transfer or make excuses and say, oh, I'll ask Jesus to forgive me for my sins. No, the responsibility is incumbent upon you, me, all of us, to make the journey, the same journey, and subjugate the lower nature of this world, to subjugate the 3D mutant matrix, to rise in the power of Christ and the anointed power of Christ, the enlightened one. Anoint your third eye, open your third eye. So as an example, we can agree upon that perhaps. But he did say, you too shall do these works and greater. So, but one who saves, the secret motto of this order is, one who saves but one soul is as if he preserves an entire world. So if I can not in my modest endeavor, in my modest ambitions, I'm not asking people for money. I will never ask people, no matter how big my YouTube channel gets. I can't stand that when people start asking other people for money and I'm seeing all these donations. But if I can have any ego gratification or awareness, if any of these videos meant even one thing to one person at a dark time in their life to turn them to realize that they are divine, that the Christ within is waiting. So one who saves but one soul is as if he preserves an entire world. Yeah, I'll drink to that. Coffee. But yes, Yeshua, the Nazarene King of the Jews, you're looking at the Tetragrammaton, Yud. Now, reading from right to left, that's how I'm used to seeing it. Yud, He, Vav, He. But He, Vav, He, Yud. Ha, Yehudim, the Jews. Vav, Melech, King of. He, Ha, Nazareh, the Nazarene. Yud, Yeshua, Jesus. Yeshua, the Nazarene King of the Jews. So that's what you're looking at right here. Sorry, I know I'm getting a little loud. Woo! I need to back off on that coffee, but hey. So, okay. Going to continue on with this chapter. There's just, let's see, there's just a couple, 2 more pages. So I'm gonna truck on, all right, folks? Okay? All right? All right, so there's that. So in Enoch, in 1 Enoch, and there's 3 books of Enoch, but we're looking at the first Enoch. Enoch the prophet has this vision. And in that place I saw the fountains of righteousness, which were inexhaustible, and around it were many fountains of wisdom. And all thirsty drank of them, and were filled with wisdom. And their dwellings were with the righteous and holy and elect. And at that hour the Son of Man was named in the presence of the Lord of spirits, and his name before the head of days. Yea, before the sun and the signs were created, before the stars of the heavens were made, his name was named before the Lord of spirits. He shall be a staff to the righteous, whereon to stay themselves and not fall. And he shall be the light of the Gentiles, and the hope of those who are troubled of heart. All who dwell on earth shall fall down and worship before him, and will praise and bless and celebrate with song the Lord of spirits. And for this reason, hath he been chosen and hidden before him, before the creation of the world, and forevermore. For wisdom is poured out like water, and glory faileth not before him forevermore. For he is mighty, and all secrets of righteousness and unrighteousness shall disappear as a shadow, and have no continuance, because the elect one standeth before the Lord of spirits, and his glory is forever and ever, and his might unto all generations. And in him dwell the spirit of wisdom, and the spirit which gives insight, and the spirit of understanding and of might, and the spirit of those who have fallen asleep in righteousness. And he shall judge the secret things, and none shall be able to utter a lying word before him. For he is the elect one before the Lord of spirits, according to his good pleasure. Now that was from Enoch. That was in chapter 48, verses 1 through 4. First book of Enoch. Yeshua himself said, all things must be fulfilled, which were written in the law of Moses, and in the prophets, and in the Psalms concerning me. There were 3 schools of religious thought in Israel in the time of Yeshua: the Sadducees, the Pharisees, and the Essenes. Both the Sadducees and the Pharisees were rigid, militant, and conservative in the practice of their faith. The Sadducees and Shammai Pharisees didn't believe in an afterlife, whilst the Bet Hillel Pharisees were less fundamental, more inclusive, and believed in more than one life. And so in Luke chapters 2, verses 41 through 46, tells the story of Yeshua, who during the Easter festival in Jerusalem becomes separated from his parents, who later find him in the temple with the learned men. When we look at Yeshua's later ministry, it is clear that he has been influenced by the Pharisees, Hillel, who could very easily have been amongst those who had been amazed by the 12-year-old Yeshua's supernatural charisma. At any rate, Yeshua's principle, love thy neighbor as thyself, and therefore all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do you even so to them, is quoted directly from Hillel and the Golden Rule formulated in Leviticus, and before that in Taoism, Brahmanism, Buddhism, and Zoroastrianism. Yeshua was born in a cave between Jerusalem and Bethlehem in today's Talpiot, but grew up in the Essenes colony east of Mount Carmel, where present-day Nazareth lies. The Essenes' oldest university, the School of the Prophets, was on Mount Carmel, originally established by Elijah, who was a Nazarene. That is to say, a hermit who lived as a strict vegetarian, preached the law of Moses, prophesied, and performed healing works. Nosrei means initiated in the Aramaic, or the one with insight. After Essene initiations in Heliopolis in Egypt, Yeshua was also initiated into the Nazarene branch of the Essenes tradition when Yohanan the Baptist, John the Baptist, Yohanan, the Jewish pronunciation, baptized him in the river Jordan. At that point, Yeshua ben Yosef became Yeshua the Nazarene, Yeshua the initiated. All right? Yeshua was therefore I like it when that sunlight does that cool stuff. Little law of light, little ray of light coming in on the law of light. All right, moving right along. Yeshua was therefore the Messiah, long anticipated by the Essenes, according to Melchizedek's order. But he wasn't God's only begotten son, as the Aramaic expression Yechide was mistakenly translated in John chapter 1, verse 14. In reality, the word means the firstborn, the unique, the elect one, or the chosen. And that is something quite different and much more in keeping with Yeshua's pronouncement in John chapter 10, verse 34. You are all God's children. And in chapter 14, verse 12, follow my example, and you will be able to perform even greater wonders than I. See, that's what I was saying earlier. Follow my example, and you will be able to perform even greater wonders than I. So you see, Yeshua was not the only, but the first soul on earth, the archetypical human being, Adam. Adama means earth. Dam means blood. Bin Adama means therefore son of the earth, or plainly and simply human being. The Essenes were convinced that Yohanan the Baptist, John the Baptist, was an incarnation of Elijah, whilst Yeshua was the return of Elisha. In Exodus, we read how Elijah, just before his journey in the chariot of fire, Kaleska de Nura, hands over his mantle and his prophetic abilities to his pupil Elisha. At exactly the same place by the river Jordan, where Elijah, in the form of Yohanan the Baptist, a few hundred years later, baptizes Yeshua, Elisha was just like Yeshua at a future date, a Nazarene prophet in the manner of the Melchizedek order, who healed the sick, raised the dead, and produced food out of thin air and similar miracles. According to the New Testament, Yeshua was a rabbi, that is to say, a teacher with knowledge of the Torah, the books of Moses, the books of wisdom, the prophets, especially Enoch, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and Daniel, together with many of the writings found in 1947 at the old Essenes University in Qumran by the Dead Sea. Yeshua is the Messiah for our age, the elect one, the chosen one, the ultimate messenger of God, who came to earth to show us why we are all here and how we learn to love unconditionally. All right. So that was finishing out the chapter. Those glasses are strong. That was finishing out the chapter, Who Was Jesus? From the great book by Lars Moll, The Law of Light. See that? There. Oh, Law of Light. Maybe it wants to be down here in the light. Let's see. That's pretty cool. There we go. There you go. The law of light, folks. Namaste, namaskaram. Happy Christmas. May the indwelling anointing of the Christ consciousness bless you in your walk to the new earth of the golden age timeline.